I want to talk about motivation. Now, motivation is a big topic. There's a lot I could say about it, but I'm going to keep it nice and short and succinct, and focus in on three particular aspects of motivation. And the reason, of course, why we're talking about motivation and habits is because habits take time, energy, and effort to put in place. And there's different studies on this. Some say that it takes 21 to 60 days to form a new habit. Others say 60 to 90 days. And in my experience, those timeframes differ based on whether you're just trying to put in place a new discrete habit or whether you're trying to stop or interrupt an old habit and override it with a new habit, which definitely takes longer. And there are reasons for that, and I'm going to talk about that at another time. Okay, so there are three concepts that I want to talk about around motivation. The first thing, no surprise here, is that you need to know your why. Now, this isn't for like a little tiny tweak that you're wanting to make, but this is like a habit, a new habit that's really important to you, that you want to make sure that you put in place, or one that's going to require quite a bit of energy or to shift for you. So you really want to get clear on your why. Why are you going to this time, energy, and effort to do this? And so here's some questions that you might want to consider. Just pause and think, why do you truly, deeply want to do this? Yeah? I don't just want surface level answers here. I want you to dig down into the real reason behind this. What will this give you by making this change, by going to this effort? What will it give you? What will it give you in your life? What will the benefits be for you? How will it feel to have this in place for yourself? And what value that's important to you will this habit change help to fulfill for you? Our values are key drivers of motivation, so if you can connect it to a value, that's really, really useful. And I want you to consider how this habit change fits with how you see yourself or want to see yourself now and in the future. Yeah? Does it fit with your identity of who you are or who you want to be? So there are other questions that you could think about as well, but those are some to get you started around considering your why. And what I want you to do is not just think about it, but actually capture that in some way, like on a piece of paper. You might, draw a mind map about it, but have it somewhere so that when you're in those moments of going through your habit change and feeling like, oh my God, why did I decide to do this? That you've got something that you're like, oh, that's why. This is why it's important to me. You want to connect back with your why at any points when you are in the phase of it's feeling hard and you're questioning it. Okay, so that's the first thing around motivation. You've got to know your why. The second thing I want to talk about is that as you're answering those questions for yourself about why this is important to you, why do you want to do it, I want you to bring awareness to the type of language that you're using around that. And what we're going to be looking for here is, are you motivated more in what we call an away from motivation or more in a towards motivation? What the heck do I mean by that? Let me give you a couple of examples. So let's say I've decided that my new habit is that I want to go to the gym 3 times a week. That's not my new habit. But let's say that theoretically was my new habit. I want to go to the gym 3 times a week. And you've asked me why that is. And my response to you is, well, I went to the doctor the other day and he said that if I don't lose weight and get fit, I am on the fast track to diabetes. And, my dad's got diabetes and I see what's happening for him and I just do not want that. So I need to go to the gym. If I was talking in that way about my motivation for this thing that I want to do, then I am more away from motivated about this habit. I'm trying to avoid something that I don't want, some kind of pain or risk that is going, or threat that is there. I'm trying to avoid that. That's away from motivation. Now let's try that again, right? So let's say I've got this scenario. Yes, I've got this new habit that I want to set up of going to the gym 3 times a week. And you ask me why, and my response is different this time. My response is, you know what? Going to the gym just is something that I really, really love to do. I feel really energized by it. I really enjoy hanging out with the people there. I love how it makes me feel. You know, when I'm fit, I can think with more clarity. I've got more energy to do the things that I love in my life. I just get a whole lot of benefits out of it. If you were talking about your habit change in this way, in terms of why you want to do it, then that means that you're more towards motivated about that habit and you're wanting to move towards the benefits or the pleasure of it. Now, both of these types of motivation can be very strong drivers for change, both away from and towards motivation. However, one of them is more sustainable generally long term, and that is the towards motivation is generally stronger long term. And the reason for that is because with away from motivation, we're trying to avoid something that we don't want. And the more we move away from that, the less visible that becomes, right? The less visible the thing we're trying to avoid becomes. And we can start to feel like, oh, well, things are okay, I don't need to keep on doing this. But they're okay because you're doing it, right? But the more that you've moved away from the thing that you're trying to avoid, the less awareness you have of it. So if you notice when you're writing out the answers to your why, that you might primarily have a stronger slant towards being away from motivated about this new habit, there's a couple of ways that here's a couple of suggestions that you can bring to how you could deal with that in the long-term situation of keeping yourself motivated. So the first thing that you could do around this is you could actually keep a record that you can access of the pain, the thing that you are trying to avoid. So you could write that down, you could journal that about how bad this thing actually is, or you could record a little video of yourself, or you could record an audio of it, right? So and whenever you're in that, I don't think I need to do this anymore. Hey, let me have a look at this. Oh my God, that's right. That's what I'm trying to not have happen. Another strategy that you can put in place around if you notice you've got more away from motivation is actually starting to turn that to more as towards as you go through putting your habit in place. And you can do that through really bringing high levels of awareness to the benefits, what it's creating for you, and not just glossing them over, but actually really allowing yourself to connect with them and talk about it with yourself and to other people. Hey, I really love this because this is giving me this, and I've noticed that by doing this habit, I'm also having these other things happen in my life as well that I wasn't expecting, and that's really cool. Or, geez, I'm noticing that I'm can more often feeling in this really good way that I want to be feeling. So you can help to switch your away from motivation to become more towards as you're realising the benefits and the enjoyment of the thing that you are doing. Okay, so that's the second thing I wanted to talk about, towards and away from motivation. The third thing that I just briefly want to touch on is whether or not you have an internal locus of control or an external locus of control. So an internal locus of control is when you know inside yourself that you have the ability to make choices for yourself in your life, to create outcomes for yourself, that you don't need to be swayed or influenced by others, but you're the person that is in control in your life. External locus of control is having much more attention on the environment and on others around us and getting swayed by that, okay? If you're wanting to have sustainable change with your habits, you want to make sure that you have got an internal locus of control and that you are really leveraging that for yourself, okay? Because if you're not, if things are happening in your environment that are distracting you or taking you off, then you're easily going to be pulled off track with your new habit, okay? So you want to have this mindset of, I am in control of my life, I can make decisions for myself that get me the outcomes that I'm wanting to make. I can adapt and change. I don't have to wait for things externally to line up for me to be able to put this in place. All right, so that is the 3 areas that I wanted to talk about today around motivation. So the no surprise one, know your why. Make sure that you are really clear on that and have it readily available so that you can keep accessing it in those moments where you're like, oh my God, why did I sign up for this? This is hard. The second area that we spoke about today was bringing more awareness to whether your motivation is towards or away from, and if you've got that primarily away from motivation, how you can manage that to have it sustainable long term. And then the third thing we talked about was your mindset around your internal locus of control and really getting clear that you are in control of your life.